Hey neighbors, welcome to the Shed Shop Woods Edition. In this video, part 3 of the STIHL 026 ported chainsaw. This is my very first ported chainsaw. And when I was grinding, I did 2 practice cylinders first, and then on the third one I slipped out on my bottom transfer and I had to widen it more than I wanted to, and I didn't think the saw was going to run. So I just went with it, said screw it, and widened that transfer to cover that, because I took a chunk out of the plating and I widened that bottom transfer. It's its maximum, in my opinion. I am new to porting. This is, again, my very first saw I've ever ported. I did a video, part 1 is the intro and the grinding, because I'm bringing you guys along on the journey, and also anybody that ports can give their input, as long as you're not a know-it-all. And then part 2 was we decided to see if the sumbitch was going to run, and it did. I was shocked. It started, it ran. I've cut a little bit with it today just to clear a path, and I think this is going to be the tree we cut down. It's dead, so I'm going to cut into it and see how dead it is inside, because what I don't want to do is my first tree I buck up with this saw to be a dead tree. No good. Okay, but if it's not horribly dry rotted inside, we'll go ahead and buck it up. Try and see where to tune this saw in at. And then if it runs well today and we are able to buck up a full tank of wood, we will go ahead and do a piston inspection again, look at our cylinder. And I currently do have the base gasket on. It is an OEM steel mallet top end, 44 mil. It is the OEM piston. And I might end up opening the windows on the piston a bit, and I know I can with my stock piston do a base gasket delete, but I might end up putting a meteor piston in this saw and see if we can do a base gasket delete with our meteor piston, just because this OEM piston did have a little bit of scoring on it and whatnots. I don't have any 44 mil rings. Actually, yes I do. I lied to you, neighbors. I can take it off of a meteor piston, but that would mean I have a meteor piston I can't sell. But anyways, so we didn't re-ring it or anything. The saw seems to be running good. I haven't checked compression yet, but it feels strong. I opened up our muffler I'll say a little bit, but on the STIHL 026, you've got 4 holes on your muffler face cover, and then a large rectangular exit port. And so I just took those 4 holes and made them one rectangle, and I don't think that muffler should really necessarily be opened up anymore beyond that. But we might end up dual porting it. We don't know yet. We're just kind of trying to play around, get the passion for the saws back, because my shop has been a prison lately. I've lost my passion and joy for working on chainsaws. And last night when this damn saw started, even if the damn thing does blow up, I'm okay with it. It might blow up, you guys. In reality, I think it probably will blow up. I don't know. But the only way we're going to find out is to run it long term. This is not a saw I'm going to sell, okay, because it's my very first one porting, so it won't be sold, at least with this cylinder. But if it runs well and has longevity in it, a few months down the road, by then we'll be starting another 026, potentially porting a meteor top end. I know, be very careful, you guys tell me they tend to flake, or we'll try and buy us a good used top end OEM and port that, and then we'll be able to sell that saw. But I don't have enough knowledge and skills and practice into porting chainsaws to justify selling a ported chainsaw to anybody. But what I also am planning on doing is some of the first saws I port, I want to send them out into my community with some of my regular customers that do tree work or land clearing, especially this one. I have a guy in mind already. I redeemed his 026 that he's had since he was 16 years old, so he's had that saw 30 some odd years and was ready to give up on it, but the chainsaw redeemer redeemed it for him. Okay, so I might have him take this saw out, and he runs a 20 on his 026. I've got an 18 on mine, and that's where I'd want to keep it. But have him do a bunch of jobs with the saw, tell me what he thinks, tell me comparisons, because the one thing I did forget to do is when I built this saw to make sure it was going to run stock, I did not do any cuts with it to get a timing, because the idea was to compare how fast it cuts stock versus how fast it cuts after I've done the modifications. So that being said, let's go ahead and get us a notch into this tree, because can see she leans that way. We're trying to fell her right here. Don't know if it'll work, but we don't have anything to hit. I do have the 044 back here as an emergency backup in case this one blows up in the middle of felling my little tree here. Again, this is nothing but a trunk. There's no top to it, and so it's gonna depend on how dead she is inside whether I cut it all the way down or not. So let's get to work, damn it, neighbors. can you tell? Push this way. I am not a tree feller. I kind of made a couple of mistakes on my front cut there. When you have a thin tree, it's hard to wedge it the right way sometimes. A thicker tree, I have a lot more space and I can get my saw in and get my wedges behind my blade. On this one I couldn't, but it worked. I think up at this end of the tree, I'm not going to like cutting it, but we're going to give it a whirl, neighbors. Let's buck some wood up. Saw's running good, it seems. Well, I'm going to be sad if it blows up. It really is cutting good. Bad for your chain. It's cutting real good. It's cutting real good. It sounds good. I think I've got it close to tuned in where I'd like it. Might not be perfect. It always sounds different on the video than it does when you're sitting here with the saw on your ear. So a lot of times I see people video or comment on guys' videos, your saw is too lean, it's too rich, this, that. And I think, I'm like, yeah, that might sound a little bit this way or that way, but the video does impact it just a little bit, how you actually truly hear the saw. But you guys go to comments and tell me what you think. Tell me what you think, neighbors. Go in the comments. Tell me what you think. Are we tuned in good? Do you think we're too rich, too lean? If I catch the bucking spikes in the center, they work well. But I kept getting bound up there because I was only catching one spike of the felling spike, and this saw didn't like that, which is not surprising. Most saws, if you only get one spike in, they're gonna bind up on you. But yeah, I mean, it's a strong saw, you guys. It cuts way faster than a stock 026, that's for damn sure. So we're gonna have to find another tree, and I think I see a cedar over here that's leaning real bad, and will be an easy one to cut up. But the thing is that the saw has to run a lot, and so, you know, you guys see how fast I went through that one little tree, which means we're now in a position where we need more wood, and that means we have to cut down another tree. I'm gonna get you guys level here just so you can kind of see what I'm looking at here. Okay, we might cut up this one. Actually, I can just take you out of the mount because we're about done with this portion of the video. You guys saw it cutting. I'm going to continue to cut with it today and see. We'll cut this one down, this cedar. Okay, and we'll buck that up and see how the saw does. Because by the time I cut that one up, I think that'll be pretty close to a tank. I'm going to go do an inspection real quick. I'm going to let her cool off. And do an inspection real quick and see if we've got any overheating signs or anything like that, just by pulling the muffler and then the spark plug and looking through the spark plug port with the periscope or whatever it's called, my camera, and go from there. And then, yeah, like I said, we'll cut that up. But when I cut that up, if I haven't run through an entire tank, then I'm just going to keep going. I'll find another tree, because the thing is, The saw is running good now, but what's going to happen when you run it for an hour straight? That's what we need to know. Can we run the saw completely out of gas multiple times in a row without blowing it up? And if so, then I know kind of where I'm at on porting my 026s, and then I'll do different stuff. I'm going to lower the intake floor a little bit. Like I said, probably open up the piston windows, do the base gasket delete, and then maybe after all of that in the near future, we might put a meteor piston in it. But again, this saw is staying at my shop for a while before I send it out for testing in the community, in the real world, because I'm just cutting up wood. You know, the guys out there, they're cutting up wood for hours and hours. They're putting a saw through an 8-hour day and multiple days in a row, and I can't do that. And if my saw can upstand that, then I'll feel confident either selling this one or porting another one very similar to it and selling it to a local neighbor. I don't think right off the bat I'll sell my saws ported outside of my local area, because there's more high risk of something going wrong, and it's very expensive to cover a warranty when somebody's out of state, because you have to, well, at least the way I do it is they pay the shipping to send it to me, but then if I find out they didn't cause the issue with the saw, I reimburse them that shipping, and then I fix their saw completely free, labor and parts, and then I also pay the shipping to get it back to them. And so covering out-of-state warranties is really expensive, but I do that for a reason. That's why my saws cost more money. I do that for a reason, because when you spend $300, $500, $700, $1,000 on a saw, it needs to last you, and you need to be confident in your purchase. And so you can go buy a $200 026, or you can buy a $3 1/4 026 warranted by me, and I'm talking stock, and have it fixed if something goes wrong. And a lot of times, even if it's the customer's fault, I'll still cover it, or I'll meet them in the middle. So that's going to be it for this video, neighbors. Go in the comments down below. Tell me what you think of the ported 026, and be kind to one another. Everyone's facing a battle. I love all you neighbors, even though I really suck at it, but I'm going to keep trying to get better. Till next time, neighbors, #persevere.